Welcome back to Morning Joe. It is 24 past the hour. Joining us now, Democratic presidential candidate, former Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana. Also with us for this conversation, the host of MSNBC's Politics Nation and president of the National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton. Good to have you all on board today. So, Mayor Pete, we'll start with your take on the killing of Soleimani and what can and should be the way forward dealing with the fact that Iran has made it clear it will respond.
Well, there's no question they're going to respond. There are lots of questions about how, but we have some questions to ask of our own president. Look, there is no question that Soleimani had American blood on his hands, that he was a bad actor in the region. But if there is anything that we have learned in the last 20 years about the Middle East, it's that taking out a bad guy is not necessarily a good idea. And what we've seen here is no evidence that there's been proper consultation with Congress, and more importantly and more dangerously, no evidence that they've really thought about the consequences. Right now, my mind is with the troops who are moving to the Middle East, and having known what it's like to be in the inside of one of those airplanes, you need to be able to trust that everybody up your chain of command has thought through what's ahead. And we're just not seeing a lot of indications of that. Already certain things are happening, including the fact that it is even less likely that Iran's nuclear ambitions can be controlled. We have a suspension in our counter-ISIS operations and evidence that we are moving toward a scenario where we'll be expelled from Iraq. So if they were thinking about this in terms of the 3D chess that it is and not checkers, we've not seen evidence of why they felt that this was the only or best decision.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.